everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Maligator Mom. I want to wish you guys a very Merry Christmas, and I also want to help you out with your Christmas list for the dog lover in your life. All of the products that you see right here are all made in the USA, and they also all universally accept the code MaligatorMom, which makes it very easy for you to remember when you're checking out. So number one is monstermilling.com. Now this is the food that I feed my personal dogs. This is an all stages food, which means that even Crisis, as a puppy, has been on this food since she was 8 weeks old. This is a holistic, fully customizable dog food. I highly recommend it. Number two is going to be robertcabral.com. A subscription to his website would make a fantastic gift. I'm someone who consumes a lot of online dog training content, and his is truly second to none. Make sure you check it out. Another question I get asked all the time is, what kennels do I use? For my personal dogs, it's a no-brainer. This is going to be a Gunner Kennel. All of my dogs have Gunner Kennels. I purchased these Gunners because not only are they made here in the USA, in fact, right here in Nashville where I live, but they are also the first kennel to ever receive a 5-star crash test rating. And last but not least are the collars that my personal dogs wear. These are available from Tactipup.com. They are fully customizable with their name. You can get a handle on them, and they have all metal hardware buckle systems with the Cobra buckle made right here in the USA. Definitely check these out. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Maligator Mom. Thank you so much for joining me for my Vlogmas 2021 series. Today, I wanted to take an opportunity to go ahead and tackle some of those viewer questions that I asked you guys to submit. I got lots and lots of questions. I wrote just a few of them down here today, and I plan on actually doing quite a few of these. So stay tuned to see if your question got answered today. If it didn't get answered today, then maybe it'll happen sometime in the next few days. We have an entire month of December to get through a lot of these questions, and it is my hope to do that for you guys. So stay tuned today to see if your question got answered.
Whoa, oh, oh. Da, 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 oh, oh. Da, 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 oh, oh. Da, 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 da. Making our Christmas memories.
So let's just go ahead and jump right into some of these questions. I took some notes here on the more involved questions, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of read them back to you, and then I will just give you guys my candid response here. So the first question is, this is someone who says that they are experiencing bad behavior from their 14-month-old Malinois. They say that she's come a long way in training, but still bites my partner and I at times. She's a good dog besides this. What have we done wrong about correcting her? No, she has never had professional training, just obedience so far, and I don't want her to develop any bad habits. So basically, my thoughts on this are pretty straightforward. It says here that she's 14 months old and that she's only had obedience training so far. You're also saying that she is biting you and your partner at times, but is otherwise a pretty good dog. So at 14 months old, it sounds to me like you might have a genetically unfulfilled Malinois. These dogs are dogs that really enjoy, biting. They're mouthy dogs. They're bred that way. And if you have done nothing but obedience so far with this 14-month-old Malinois, then what that tells me is that and this isn't necessarily true, it's very difficult to understand the nuance of situations. So please keep in mind that when I'm answering these questions, I'm literally having to fill in a lot of the gaps with my own presumptions. So keep that in mind here. So take what I say with a grain of salt. So, at 14 months old, if you've done nothing with obedience, nothing other than obedience training with her, then she might just be very unfulfilled. So you might want to look into doing some things with her, whether it's nose work, whether it's bite work, whether it's agility. She might need an outlet for her drive. So that frustration could be causing a lot of those outbursts with you guys. You say right here that she's never had any professional training. And then you literally go on to say, we don't want her to develop any bad habits. But it sounds like that has passed. That time has passed. She has already developed these bad habits. If you have a Malinois who is biting you, and she's not really a puppy anymore, it's beyond the puppy biting stage, then she's already developed a pretty bad habit. So to me, my advice, you guys know what I'm gonna say, is to work with a professional trainer. You've got to work with a professional trainer, because the truth is that I really have no idea what is going on here to be able to diagnose or wrap my mind around what it is that's going on with this dog. I've never seen this dog. I haven't put eyes on this dog. This is very, very limited information. And so it's almost impossible for me to really have any idea what's going on with you or your dog, why this dog is biting. It could literally have nothing at all to do with her not being genetically filled, like I'm assuming. It could be something completely different. And so you aren't gonna know that unless you make the effort to get this dog in front of a professional trainer who can assess the dog and help you understand what it is that's going wrong. So that's my advice. Please reach out to a professional trainer, work with a professional trainer. If this dog is landing bites on you, you need to pump the brakes real quick and get this figured out. All right, moving right along to question number 2. This is a pretty straightforward question. Someone wants to know what kind of money goes into protection training. And as you might have guessed, it is actually not an inexpensive hobby to have. So I could tell you up front that the hourly rate for someone who does this type of training, because protection training is few and far between. Not a lot of people do it, so you're gonna probably pay a little bit of a premium for this type of training because it is a specialized subset of training beyond just pet dog training. It does require a little bit more knowledge and experience, and so you have to pay for that up front. I would say that a nice average, and this depends on the area and the expertise of the trainer, a lot of different factors come into play, but I think a nice average is gonna be anywhere between $100 to $200 an hour. I don't typically spend more than an hour in a training session with one dog, but then I also have the ability to be a part of a club. So I have a club locally, we call it Bite Club, which is a lot of fun. We do that out at Global Canine Protection Services in Dixon, Tennessee. And then that is also a fee that we pay per session to come out and participate in Bite Club. So if you can imagine that you're paying, between $100 and $200 an hour, roughly once a week. I have a standing appointment with my personal trainer every Monday, and then Fridays is Bite Club, and so that is another hourly fee. It can really add up, and it can really add up when you have 4 Malinois as well. But to answer your question in a more straightforward way, you can expect to pay about $100 to $200 an hour for protection dog training. But there are also other ways to pay for protection dog training in the sense that you could buy a finished dog, meaning you don't have to buy a puppy and then do this training yourself. You can also buy a finished protection dog, and these dogs can actually run, anywhere between, on the low end, maybe 20 or 30 grand, all the way up to, I've seen them go for, $60, $70, $80,000 for a finished dog. And again, this depends wildly on that level of training and the specific capabilities of that dog. But yeah, it is not an inexpensive hobby. Here's another pretty straightforward one. Somebody is asking me, what is your dog's favorite toy? So that is super simple. For Fury, it is the Kong. For Riot, it's anything plushy. He loves to rip the stuffing apart from any soft toy. And for Storm, it's basically anything that Riot or Fury have. So it also looks like some of you were confused about where that second Malinois puppy went that I brought home with Crisis. So that means to me that some of you just are not aware of my business on the back end. And so I'll just kind of briefly explain to you what that is. So I hand select a few puppies each year. So I will vet a pairing or a breeder and go out and assess a litter and hand pick the puppy. I bring that puppy home with me where I get that puppy through the first 16 weeks. So I provide crate training, potty training, loose leash walking, all the basic commands like come, sit, here, heel, stay, down, all that stuff is all ready to go. So that you receive a puppy at 14 to 16 weeks of age is the sweet spot. And I can deliver a puppy to you that is not so green, because I think a lot of people, when they're getting their very first Malinois puppy, end up very overwhelmed, and they fail the puppy in a lot of ways because their inexperience with a Malinois puppy can actually prove to cause a lot of long-term problems that require long-term management. When if a more experienced person had their hands on that puppy in that vital 16 weeks of age, they probably could have gone on to be successful with the dog. So my hope is to provide upfront support for people who are potentially looking to get into the Malinois breed, who want to purchase their first Malinois, and provide this service so that those people can hit the ground running. So long story short there, that puppy was purchased for those purposes, and that puppy sold. He actually sold quite a bit earlier, and all of my sales and things are worked on the back end with the privacy of the buyer in mind. And sometimes someone will come to me who actually doesn't need those things because they have a lot of experience with the breed. It's not their first Malinois, they know what they're doing, they don't need that program. And so sometimes I will discount a puppy and turn a puppy a little quicker. So that's the case with that puppy, and Crisis was actually supposed to be a part of that program as well, but we ended up liking her so much, and my daughter took a liking to her as well, and so we ended up keeping Crisis with us. And I expect that I will probably do my next puppy spring or summer of next year. I do have a waiting list that is pretty substantial, but if you're interested, you could go to maligatormom.com and fill out an inquiry form. Filling out that form automatically puts you on the waiting list. All right, here is another very simple one. Someone wants to know, what do I do with my dogs when I go on vacation? I board my dogs. I board my dogs. I don't know anybody. I don't have any friends that are going to be willing to take on 4 Belgian Malinois or even have the space or equipment necessary to do that. So I board my dogs out at Global Canine Protection Services. I've bought a couple of my dogs. So Riot and Fury actually were purchased from Global Canine. And I mean, they're great. It's like vacation for them too. So they get to go out there. And when I'm boarding my dogs at Global Canine, they're also working with them all throughout the day. So they have a lot of fun, and I'm completely at ease knowing that I am on vacation and my dogs are as well. So here is someone who has submitted a question about their 5-month-old puppy. Looks like they're having a little trouble with them. It says, how do you get 5-month-old Malinois puppy to be calm inside the house? Owner says puppy gets plenty of physical and mental exercise, but is a terror at home and pretty much ends up having to just be crated. So, you know, first I think we just need to take a second to acknowledge the fact that this Malinois puppy is in fact a puppy. 5 months old is very, very young. And so that puppy energy is just to be expected. And there is just a level of management of puppy energy and behavior that is just going to be required because of the sheer age of the dog. However, you say that you're giving the dog enough physical and mental exercise, and I actually believe you that that is probably very true. You probably are getting out there, training with your dog, working with your dog, and I don't not believe you at all. I think what the issue is not that you're not tiring out your dog, but that you're not giving your dog any structure, boundary, or routine when it comes to being in the house. It sounds to me like what you're doing, because you talk about going to the park and things, it sounds to me like what you're doing is, you know, going out, taking your puppy out, and working with your puppy, and then you think that that should suffice your puppy to just come inside the house and know what to expect behavior-wise in the house. But he has no idea what to expect because you're not clearly communicating with him what is expected in the house. So my Malinois are fairly well behaved in the house, but to be honest with you, it does require management. You know, I have to set clear rules, clear boundaries, clearly be communicating with my dogs inside the house so that they know what is expected. So a 5-month-old puppy who is terrorizing your house, my question is, why are you allowing that to happen? Why are you allowing a puppy to terrorize your house? Sometimes the answer is absolutely to put your puppy in a crate, because leveraging the crate is a big part of creating that routine and that structure. I leverage the crate quite a bit when I am raising a Malinois puppy. Crisis spends a lot of time in her crate. She has a routine, she has a schedule. But when she is allowed to have some free time out in the house, that is earned, meaning she has worked and she gets to come inside and have a little bit of chill time. I do things like set up boundaries in the house. So my puppy does not have free access to my home. So might I suggest that you purchase some baby gates or something maybe, and just kind of section off, this is where you're allowed to be out right now. That puppy has to earn the freedom to access other areas of the house with good behavior. So right now, my Malinois puppy is really only allowed here on the main level. I've blocked off access to the stairs. And when she does get to come out, it's not for hours at a time. You know, she gets to come out for short periods of time where I'm on her about pretty much everything as far as, you know, if she jumps up on the couch, I give her a correction. It's no, I put her down, and I'm starting to teach her those boundaries and limitations in the house. And is she gonna press them and explode in the house and be all over the place? Sometimes, yeah, she's a puppy. But that's where you have to step in and manage or parent your puppy more or less. It's no different than if you had a 5-year-old who was allowed to just be out in the house and you just let them terrorize your house. Well, that's probably exactly what they would do. And you probably wouldn't allow that. You would communicate to that 5-year-old child what the expectations were for behavior in the house. You have to do the same thing with the puppy. So, you know, there's some tricks to that. You could keep a leash on your puppy in the house. A leash is one of our most underutilized training tools when it comes to being inside the home. I think a lot of people equate with putting your dog on a leash when you're outside of the home, but it's actually a fantastic tool to use inside the home as well, because you do a lot of communicating with the dog through a leash. So put a leash on your puppy in the house and have a way to communicate with your dog inside the home. So long story short, keep those sessions, you know, with your puppy inside the home short. Don't allow free access to the house. The puppy has to earn those freedoms and earn that access to your home. Keep a leash on the puppy for a while inside the house so that you can communicate when the puppy is doing something unwanted. And another thing that I do a lot is I've actually loaded a sound, which means no reward, right? It's basically a sound that the dog knows this is an unwanted behavior. This is a no reward behavior, right? And I just make the sound, ah, right? So that means that my puppy, even, you know, at the young age that she is, if she's across the room and she's doing something I don't like, I can literally just look at her and go, ah, and she'll look at me, and she knows because I have loaded that sound with a meaning for her. She knows what ah means, and it means stop what you are doing. That is an unwanted behavior. So, you know, there's lots of ways to manage that. I think that there's a lot of videos out there that could probably be pretty helpful for you. RobertCabral.com is one of them. And we did just do a giveaway for a 1-year annual subscription to his website, but we're also going to do another one later this month as well. So I do have another annual subscription for his website to give out. And so stay tuned for that as well. All right, guys, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap that up for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed the viewer Q&A. I love getting questions and going through them. I plan to do several of these videos all throughout the month. So again, if you didn't get your question answered today, then stay tuned because there's a very good chance I'll get to it at some point. If you have a question that you have not yet submitted, you can always do that a few ways. Number one, you can send me a message on Instagram. You can send me a message on Facebook. You could send me a direct message on my website. You can comment down below in the description of this video, which is probably the easiest thing to do. But there's all different kinds of ways to get a hold of me and submit that question. I am looking across all of my platforms for those questions, and I'm just randomly selecting questions and writing them down. So if you have a question, submit it down below. And let's get out of here for today. I'll see you guys next time.